Hello, good day. Welcome in this video. But before anything else, let's start with the prayer. And Lindsay Pereras will be the one who will going to lead our prayer for today. Miss Lindsay,
So
you
let
can
us bow
now.
our head and feel the presence of the Lord. So in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Amen. We thank you, Lord, for this day. We thank you for all the blessings you give to us. We thank you for this group, for the knowledge that you gave to each member of this group. Thank you for the guidance and love that you gave to us. We thank you for everything, Lord God, and we are hoping for the success of this group. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
So, thank you, Miss Lindsay, for leading the prayer. And I hope each of us will have a good day. So now let's move on and continue our discussion. So you're welcome in this video, and for today we're going to tackle the teaching strategies for the development of literacy skills and teaching resources. But before anything else, let us distinguish first our main topic. Let us start with the teaching strategies. When we say teaching strategies, these are the techniques or the tactics that we're going to apply. As a teacher or facilitator that will serve as our instrument to deliver a better quality of education in our students. So it is in terms of student engagement, building a good relationship, and also to enhance the skills and knowledge of our learners and many more and so on. And now let us tackle what is literacy skills. So anyone or does anyone here have a background knowledge about literacy skills? You can share your idea. Anyone? Yes, Miss Cervantes. Yes.
I think it is ability to read and write and able to comprehend to understand words and text.
Okay, that's correct. So when we see literacy skills, it is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials that is associated with varying contexts. So, for you, Mrs. Cervantes, what do you think are the importance of learning literacy skills, not just in studying, but also in our everyday life? What do you think are the importance of it?
I think the importance of literacy skills we can use in effective way in communicating and able to understand other people and also to adapt what they are kung ano yung sinasabi nila or kung ano yung nakikita.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Um, for the information of for so for us, the importance of literacy skills is we humans shall be able to adopt or to enhance our literacy skills. Of course, this serves as our basic knowledge, or this is the foundation for us to able to communicate effectively with the other people. So being able to read and write, this means being able to keep with the current events or current trends. And as what I mentioned earlier, it is one of the most important things that we use this in our everyday lives, which is we communicate with other people. So next, let's tackle about the strategies for the developing literacy skills. Again, when we say strategies, these are the tactics or the techniques that we apply or that we use in a certain aspect. But now we're going to focus in developing the literacy skills. So first, let us tackle about making connections and visualizing. So anyone, do you have any idea about making connections or visualizing? You can raise your hand if you have any idea. Okay? Okay, let me explain it. When we say making connections and visualizing, of course, we all know that or students, they're not just reading the text, but also they're doing multitasking skills by creating images in their minds, and also um, they visualize the text or kung ano man yung sinasabi nung isang story. So it is very important because it is very essential for the reader or for the readers to easily understand the main context kung ano man yung binabasa nila. So, with making connections and visualizing, they can easily comprehend based on what they're reading. So, that is making connections and visualizing. So next, questioning and inferring. So does anyone here have the idea about questioning and inferring? Yes, Miss Dueste. Thank you for thank you for being volunteer. You can answer my question. Do you have an idea? O sige, ito na lang. What do you think are the importance of questioning? Since, for example, you have or you experience the scenario wherein you are engaging with the child. So we all know that the, the young the young people or yung mga bata, they have many questions in their mind. So as a facilitator or as the teacher, what will you do for them to cater their queries or their questions? Yes, Sir Vantes, meron ka bang naiisip na maaaring sagot dun sa question ko?
For me kasi kapag ang facilitator nakikita niya sa mga estudyante na maraming tanong, kita 'yun sa mata, mas nagiging eager yung learners na makinig tsaka matuto at mas mo-motivate kasi dahil dun sa question may gusto silang malaman.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So, questioning is very important in terms of reading. Especially when you're engaging with the young people, yun nga, yung mga bata. And questioning is also a part of understanding. If you have queries, you can ask for some clarifications. Of course, para no confusion tayo. So, queries is a part of understanding, wherein the readers or the students will become more engaged. So every time that a child asks for some questions, so it enhances the communication and also the engagement of the child and the facilitator. And also it will help them to understand or to comprehend the context. So that is the purpose of questioning. And how about inferring? Yes, Givan, do you have any idea about inferring? Okay, you can raise your hand if you have any questions or if you have some
Yes po.
Yes. Yes, Mr.
Can I
David.
answer?
Sure.
For me, inferring is a process of gathering or making information through available content or through real experience or past knowledge.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, let me explain what is inferring. When we say inferring, this means that the readers figure out something that the story or the book or even the author did not actually say in the book. So, this is what we call reading between the lines. Si readers ay nagko-conclude based dun sa understanding niya na hindi naman dun nabanggit sa story or hindi rin nasabi ng author. So, by that, it enhance the comprehension skills of the student. Kasi mas nagiging, confident siya na i-share din yung kanyang knowledge about dun sa binabasa niya. So, let's tackle the strategies for the development of emergent literacy skills and teaching resources. So, let us tackle what this all about. So now, what is early emergent literacy? Does anyone here have a background idea what is emergent literacy?
Um,
Yes. Yes, Cervantes.
I think it is the building blocks of reading and writing and prior knowledge from birth to from present.
Yes, okay. Thank you for sharing. When we say early emergent literacy, early, so the child learns um learns how to read and write. Kahit na hindi pa sila pumapasok sa school. So, this emergent literacy, they learn it from their family or inside their house. So, doon nabibuild yung ability ng isang bata na magkaroon na ng prior knowledge in terms of basic knowledge, which is the writing and the reading skills. So, si family or si mother and the father or kung sino man din sa family, sila yung magtuturo dun sa bata. So, napakaraming scenario na makikita natin na maraming nag-exist na ganito na kahit hindi pa siya nag-aaral or hindi mo pa siya pinapapasok sa school. They have the prior knowledge because their family taught them or teach them on how to learn the basic skills or basic knowledge. So that is early emergent literacy. So I think Miss Dueste has a idea about early emergent literacy. Yes, Miss Dueste.
So, yun nga, Miss Tejano, kasi nga, di ba, sabi dyan sa literacy begins at birth. So, pagkasilang pa lang ng isang bata, may learning or skills na agad na meron siya. Kasi, di ba, yung mga baby, once na nakaaninag na sila ng light or colors, na-visualize nila na, ay, object to. Kahit na sabihin natin, hindi pa naman fully recover yung nila. Tawag dito, yung visualizing nila, hindi pa fully recover at the age of mga 0 to, nasa pa lang sila, weeks. So,
Okay.
yun.
Thank you. So for the answer of Miss Silvestre, she mentioned that a child or a baby or an infant learns easily on how to communicate with his or her family. So that is the form of communication. Diba? Since they're baby, they don't know how to speak well. So this is means of communication. So we all know that the baby has the strongest relationship with the mother. Since mother yung nagluwal dun sa bata, mas nararamdaman ng baby yung connection dun sa mother. So, yes. Miss Ganon, do you raise your hand? Did you raise your hand? Sorry.
So, yung dagdag ko lang din sa early emergency literacy, yung children can speak more than one languages. So, it means yung yung halimbawa, yung nanay ko, for example, nagturo siya sa akin ng mother as well as tinuruan niya rin ako mag-read. So, ako, dahil sa pagturo niya sa akin, nalaman ko yung 3 languages na meron ako ngayon. This is yung mother tongue ko na Cebuano, and Tagalog. Saka yung as well as yung English na natutunan ko reading. So, yun nga, so children can speak more than one languages. So basic ko din sa research.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Ganon, for sharing your ideas or sharing your experiences. So, yun nga. Natututunan natin na sa bahay pa lang, marami na tayong nakukuha ang aral. As long as the parents or the guardians or has the interest na talagang matutunan ng isang bata yung mga basic skills or basic knowledge. So, that is early emergent literacy. And now we're going to talk about the different examples of emergent literacy, and it will explain by Ms. Blaste, and thank you for listening. Yes, Miss Silvestre, you can now explain your assigned topic. Hello, Miss Silvestre.
Yes. Are you done, Miss
Okay na.
Tejano?
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
good
Yes,
day,
ma'am. I'm done.
everyone. Good day, everyone. Today, I am going to discuss the emergent literacy strategies. So, first, we have a repetition. From the word itself, repeat. Repeated exposure. Thus, every time we expose the children in a activities or situation, it has a possibility that the children able to master and enhance the skills that they have. For example, as you can see at the picture or the example, na yung writing skills ng isang bata is nagagamit. Kasi 'di ba pinagsulat siya ni for example, yung nasa example, pinagsulat yung student. So at the same time, yung behavior ng bata is nadidisiplina. Na kumbaga hindi lang nag-focus si teacher sa skills na meron yung bata, kundi pati rin parang personal, parang kasi yung behavior na yung ginawa niyang pagkakamali, I will not copy again, na mali yun, na hindi tama yun. Kumbaga, pati yung behavior ng bata is nadidisiplina. Especially tayo as future educator or ikaw bilang isang teacher na second parents na din ng mga bata. Now, we need to teach them the learning that they can apply it in a real world, not just only in the class, but kundi magagamit nila personally. So, next slide, please. So next, the systematic exposure.
I Miss Angel. Hello, Miss Angel. I think you
Yes.
forgot to explain these types of examples. Could you please enlighten us by helping us to give the examples? Sorry. Is it okay, ma'am?
Sure, wait. Sige, balik.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, first, dito tayo sa work on literacy while making choice. Work on literacy while making choice. Dito papasok yung pagpili ng isang bata sa kung ano yung gusto nila. For example, yung skills na meron sila, ma-apply nila by making choice. Gets po ba? So next is label objects. Label objects, dito papasok yung kaalaman ng isang bata sa mga bagay-bagay. For example, spoon. Yung spoon may talaga siya, may ka-partner siya. So ano yung ka-partner nung spoon? So fork 'yon. Parang i-set nila yung object sa kung saan siya compatible. So any additional information for the example na sinabi ko? So, wala. So, work on literacy while playing game. So, yun nga, alam naman siguro natin na kabataan mahilig sa laro. So, sa paglalaro nila, na-enhance din yung skills na meron sila. Kumbaga, game yung basihan nila para matuto. So next, the recipe. So recipe, dito papasok yung mga nakikita naman nila. For example, yung yung nakikita nila na pwede rin nila gamitin in the future. For example, si parents nag-bake, tapos andun si students or yung bata nanonood. So, yon siguro sa at the young age niya, hindi niya pa magagawa yon. Pero sa future, magagamit niya yon. Na maaalala niya, ay ganito yung procedure na ginawa ni mama nung bata pa ako. 'Di ba may mga ganong scenario tayo na oo, natatandaan ko, tinuro to sa akin ni mama. Yung ganon yung hindi mo man siya ma-apply nung andun ka pa sa panahong hindi pa pwede, ma-apply mo man siya in the future. So next slide please.
Angel, Miss Angel, can I add my information or my idea about label objects? So for me,
Sige.
since we are the facilitator, okay, since we are the facilitator, and if we're going to engage with the young children, I think we must teach them the correct way on how to label the objects. Just like, for example, fork, the 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 word fork that starts with the letter F, which is yung tinidor, na alam natin. And how about the fork? The difference between fork and the pork, and the pronunciation of it still matters. So pork is is baboy, right? Pork and
Yes.
pork is tinidor. So since we teach them, kailangan ituturo natin sa mga bata talagang accurate so that they can easily label the objects ng tama. So, doon naman sa work on literacy while playing a game, I think kasi yung game, they find it interesting so that they learn something or mas ginaganaan silang matuto. So, yung experience, nababaon eh. So, yun lang po ma'am Angel. Thank you. Tapos na po ma'am.
Sige, thank you for the idea, Miss Tejano. So next, move tayo sa emergent literacy strategies. So first, yun nga, we have repetition. From the word itself, repeated exposure na every time we expose the children in different activities or situation, na it has a possibility that yung yung children, they can able master and then and enhance their skills na meron sila. For example, as you can see at the picture, yung sa example ng repetition, na picture na yung reading skills ng isang bata is nagagamit. And aside from that, yung behavior ng isang bata is nadidisiplina. Yun nga, especially tayo yung teacher, tas tinuturing tayo na pangalawang magulang ng mga students natin, that we need to teach them the learning that they can apply in a real world, not just only inside the classroom. So, is that clear or may additional pa po ba? So, next slide, please. So, next is the systematic exposure. So, we must be aware of the label at which a particular skills in being presented. So, to remove the fear of the children, we set particular skills is being we set particular activities that suit to the skills of that they have, because it has a possibility na mahihirapan yung isang bata na mag-cope up or mag-accomplish ng isang activity na ginawa mo, lalo na kung bago sa kanila, parang magkakaroon sila ng takot na gawin yung isang bagay kasi alam nilang takot. So we need to set the label or the particular skill na kaya nilang sabayan. And also as facilitator, we should set activities that can help to enhance the skills of the students. Kung saan sila nag-e-enjoy, at the same time natututo rin. Na at their age, they learn in playing and wait lang. Kung saan sila nag-enjoy at natututo sila. Kasi nga 'di ba, kung saan nakakatch yung interest nila, tsaka saan sila nag-enjoy, mas doon sila nagfo-focus. So, next slide please. Or may additional pa po ba or clarification? So, wala. So, next slide please. So next is supported play. So give the right materials and adults the guidance of the parents or the teacher is must, since the infants and early childhood at their age they learn in playing, and they are a lot of question inside their mind, and at their age also gusto nila yung nag-explore ng mga bagay-bagay na mga bagay-bagay out of their curiosity. But yung learning and skills, dapat andun pa rin. For example, making grocery list. In that way, they are writing. Also, they learn that they can apply and use there in the future. So, also making them order from a menu. In that way, mas madadagdagan yung learning nila by reading. Na out of curiosity din, magtatanong sila. So, as an adult, kailangan mong explain ng maayos. So that, in that way, may bago silang matututunan. So, may nag-raise ng hand. So, si Miss Ferreras, may question po ba? Or
May additional
information?
Opo. So, regarding
sige.
since nasa 21st century tayo, yung mga bata ngayon is mahilig na sila gumamit ng mga cellphone or engage na sila sa paggamit ng technology. So, mas natututo sila sa paggamit nito and nakatutulong ito sa pag-unlad ng kanilang skills like communication skills rather. So, kapag meron silang nakita dun sa, halimbawa, may pinapanood silang video sa YouTube, for example, and hindi nila naintindihan yun, magtatanong sila sa adult and syempre, kailangan ng guidance palagi para ipaliwanag o ma-explain dun sa bata kung ano ba yung meaning ng isang bagay na hindi nila naintindihan. So, helpful yung technology or gadgets sa mga bata ngayon para mas ma-improve yung learning nila. Yun lang po.
Sige, thank you. So, ang ganda ng ano niya. No? Pero, yun nga, sabi mo, nasa 21st century na tayo. Pero, tapos, sa technology, natututo rin yung mga bata. Pero dapat, may mga, parang maglagay, hindi parang, kundi maglagay tayo ng limitation. Kasi nga, diba, sabi nila, masama yung sobra. So, kailangan din yun nga, guidance talaga. So, ano ba? Additional information pa or question? So, wala na. So, next slide, please. So, the next is explicit reading. So in explicit reading, we should explain the unfamiliar words from them to understand, because if their texts are vague, it has a possibility na mag-iiwan sa kanila ng maraming tanong sa students. Kasi nga, pag hindi mo na-explain yung mga bagong words sa kanila or hindi pa masyado nila naririnig, pag hindi mo na-explain ng maayos kung ano yung ibig sabihin nun, mag-iiwan yun ng madaming question. Kasi hindi malinaw sa kanila eh. Kasi kailangan, syempre, pag na-engage tayo sa mga young age, kailangan maging specific tayo. Kasi yun nga, yung pag-iisip nila malayo sa pag-iisip natin. Kasi specific sila mag-isip, tayo specific to general naman. Explicit reading. So next is, may clarification pa ba? So Miss Jeya.
Share ko po yung idea ko about explicit reading. Since we're the facilitator for the guidance of the students or the learners or the young children, we must aware of those vocabulary words which is unfamiliar for them. Since we're the facilitator, we have to explain it. So for that, it will help them to understand it. Since they are young children, they still or wala pa silang prior knowledge kung ano yung meaning ng isang words na nahirapan silang unawain. So when we say explicit kasi, this means to be clear. Okay? Kailangan na maunawaan nung nagbabasa kung ano yung binabasa niya. So that is my idea, Ma'am Angel.
So thank you for that idea. So let's move on to the scaffolding. So next slide, please. Okay. So scaffolding, this involves the guidance of a parents or the teacher, that there is some activities that students cannot do it by their own. So for example, in reading, that it has a possibility that they they can encounter some unfamiliar words. So by the guidance of the facilitator or your parents, mas magiging malinaw at maintindihan nila ng maayos yung mga words na yon. Or as another example din yung mga bagay-bagay na for example, may gusto silang abutin. Tapos yung bagay na yun is nasa nasa mataas. So hindi nila abot. So ikaw as an adult, kailangan mo siyang i-guide kasi yun nga hindi niya pa kaya. Kasi pag may kung hindi mo nagag-guide ng maayos yung bata, magkakaroon siya ng result na mali. Result na mali. So kailangan guidance talaga sa mga batang yun nga yung mga young age. So yun, Miss Jaya, any
So, here in scaffolding, since we all know that young children are still dependent on the facilitator or the parents. So, we, the facilitator or as a parents of the young children, we must guide them since hindi pa sila aware kung ano yung mga tama. And since we're now in the 21st century or we have encounters those 21st century learners na very na sa technologies. So, since tayong facilitator or yung nagka-guide, kailangan pa rin natin sila. Paalala pa rin natin sa kanila kung saan lang yung limit ng paggamit ng technology. So, dito sa scaffolding, yun nga, it involves working with a child. So, kailangan, nandito pa rin yung responsibilities ng tatay, yung guidance or yung facility. So, dito dapat na-emphasize na mahalagang pagtuwa ng pansin ng mga bata. So, yun lang.
So, thank you, Miss Tejano. So, let's move on. Next slide, please. So, the multisensory teaching. So, dito naman, it involves the visual, the audio, and the kinesthetic experience. And not just the writing and the reading skills of the students ang magagamit, but gagana din yung pandinig, yung senses nila, and and all it include by body movement that it helps students to fully understand, for example, the story that they read. If it has a picture or sounds, they can learn kung paano ba dinideliver yung mga line ng character sa story, kung paano yung mga blockings, di ba may mga ganun sa story kung saan nakapwesto yung character. Wait lang. So yun nga kung paano dinideliver. So in that, hindi lang gagana yung reading and writing skills nila, kundi pati rin yung pandinig nila, tapos siguro yung acting skills na din kung pwede siyang i-insert. So any additional information. So Miss Jaya.
For me, Miss Angel, this multisensory teaching, it involves the facilitator or the teacher. Since we all know that a children or a learner has a different kind of learning style or multiple intelligence. So, we must consider it. Since sabi nga dito, as we expose a child to a range of emergent literacy activities. And what if si student ay hindi siya capable sa isang skill? So, kailangan as a facilitator, maging tayo dito. Tayo yung gagana dito. Kailangan mag-isip tayo ng kaibang strategies kung paano natin i-cater yung iba't ibang uri ng skills ng ating estudyante. Yan po yung idea.
Oo nga, tama nga naman. Kasi nga 'di ba, hindi nga naman lahat ng estudyante ay may pare-parehas ng way kung paano sila matuto, 'di ba, Miss Tejano? So, thank you.
Yes,
So,
po.
next slide, please. So, Next strategies is use of environmental prints. So students expose the environment so we can see that reading and writing is not just only exist in the classroom but also outside. Because yung mga example na nakikita nyo dyan is kadalasan natin siyang nakikita, but as an adult, yes, we can understand those signage. Pero yung mga bata, naiintindihan kaya nila? Kasi 'di ba, yun nga sabi ko, yung mga bata is specific sila. Tapos yung talas ng pag-iisip nila hindi pa ganun katalas ng pag-iisip sa ating mga adult. So tayo ay siguro meron, oo, yung mga batang yung mabilis matuto, yung parang 'di ba may mga batang yung mga blessed na bata na pa lang na at the young age alam na nila yung mga elements nung sa periodic table. Siguro may mga ganong bata na maiintindihan din to. Pero hindi lahat. Hindi naman kasi lahat same ng way, yun nga, ng way ng para matuto, merong through writing, reading, and visualization. So, tayong mga nakakaalam, we should explain them na in a way na hindi sila malilito. Kasi yung mga kabataan, yun nga, specific sila mag-isip, unlike us, specific to general tayo. So, any, po ba, additional or clarification? So, wala na. So, let us move on to the development of emergent literacy skills. So, first, we have pictures, development of emergent literacy skills. So, pictures and objects. So, in this matter, pictures and object is one of the important that we should have inside the classroom, or kung saan naglalagi yung mga bata, yung sa yung mga playground para sa mga bata, yung mga objects and pictures for student to learn na para mas maintindihan nga nila, kasi nga iba talaga yung may picture na nakikita sila kaysa sa yung nababasa at naririnig lang nila. Sa sinusulat, nagkakaroon ng linaw lahat ng mga learnings na nakukuha nila. So, yun nga, object. Kasi minsan, yun nga, sabi kanina ni Ms. Tejano na hindi lahat ng bata is pare-parehas ng way para matuto. So, kung hindi man sila matuto sa pagbabasa or pagsusulat, may iba pang way. So, yun nga yung pictures and object na through that object or pictures, matuto sila. So, any po ba, question and clarification?
I have a question, Miss Sudeste. Okay.
So, yon?
I have a question po, Miss Sudeste.
Sige. Sige, go.
How about to those people na merong diferensya sa paningin sa mga mga blind people? Paano yung pag-execute or pagtuturo ng pictures and objects?
So, yun nga, salamat sa tanong mo. Na doon sa mga gano'n naman, yung mga gano'n, since wala silang kakayahan makakita ng object, through senses naman, gagana naman yung pandaman ng mga ganong bata. So, yun, sa object, sa set of objects, ganon. So, halimbawa, ito, papahawak mo sa kanila, then ipaparecognize mo kung ano yun. Kung hindi nila maintindihan, syempre, ikaw as facilitator or teacher or mas nakakaalam, papaliwanag mo ng maayos. Then, pag sa picture naman, hindi pwede yung yung plain lang na picture kasi magiging useless yon. Yung may mga picture kasi na parang nakabakat yung shape, nakabakat yung yung arts or form ng halimbawa animals, yung mga bagay-bagay, form ng mga objects. So sa ganung paraan, kahit papano matututo yung mga walang kakayahan makakita. So malinaw na po ba?
Thank you.
So next slide please. So letters and words. So dito sa letter and words na the alphabet, wait lang, may nag-raise ng hand. So si Miss Bello, may question po. Wait lang. May question si Miss Delo. Miss Delo.
Paano po yung yung mga people, yung mga tao na hindi nakakakita naman, hindi si kumbaga nakakakita sila pero hindi sila nakakarinig. Paano na paano siya i-explain yung picture, yung objects?
Siguro
Yun.
para dyan, yun lang. Mahirap siya explain na kasi wala pa akong experience. Pero sa tingin ko, maaano siya by, paano ba? By, wait lang. Siguro marunong, hindi sila nakakarinig.
Pwede
Pwedeng pa-add.
maka-shared.
Ay, sige. Sige, sila muna.
Sorry.
Sige lang. Wala ka sa
Pwede ba
experience,
sabi
sige, di ko
dyan?
masyado,
Pwede ba sabi?
gamay yung abo. Sige lang. Ila daw.
May shared ako. Ako, was shared.
Go,
Sige,
Gilpan.
sige, go.
Sige, game.
Sa mga student na hindi makarinig, gumagamit
Oo.
Okay.
Pwede na
sa pagka-notice ko, parang gumagamit sila ng sign language wherein tinuturuan yung mga learners kung ano ba ang real meaning ng sign language na ganun. Parang ganun. Para ma-express kung ano ang sinasabi or may
by letter, hindi ba by
interpret.
letter?
Parang ganun. Yung pagkakaintindi ko.
I have a question for Gayban po.
Tama yun. Wait lang. Tama yun. Yung sign language.
Oo.
Design
By
talaga
letter
sila sa
kasi
mga-
yun.
Oo. Ano talaga sila? Tawag nito? Ginawa talaga sila para sa mga deaf people. Yun yung purpose ng sign language. Para magkaroon ng maayos na communication.
May tanong pa po ako.
Sige.
Can I ask na po?
Sige.
Paano naman, meron po kasi akong kamag-anak po siya. Hindi po siya nakakaano ng sign language, nakakaintindi. Pipi siya tsaka bingi. Paano po yung yung execution ng pagtuturo doon ng pictures and objects?
Hindi, kasi alam ko, pag pag pipi at bingi, bata pa lang sila, marunong na sila. Kasi tita ko ganun eh. Tapos kami, nasanay na din kami. Pipi at bingi. Kasi,
Ma'am, sa tingin... Sige po, ma'am.
kasi pag di ba, pipi at bingi, syempre bata pa lang. Paano sila makikipag kung hindi, bata pa lang sila. Parang na sa kanila yon. Parang para na talaga sa kanila yon. Para sa akin na. Kasi ganun yung yung tita ko. Na sa ganung bata pa lang, marunong na.
I mean, for example, teacher ka, then, you encounter that kind of students na hindi nakakaintindi ng sign language, pipi, tsaka bingi. Paano yung paano yung strategy mo para, matuto siya?
Siguro pag ganun, need na yun talaga ng special, treatment. Hindi siya kasi kung ganun nga naman, mas mahihirapan yung teacher. Kasi 'di ba pag mga ganong situation kasi may special doon, parang special na tao na mag-aano din sa special condition niya. Para lang sa akin. May nagtaas ng kamay. Ayun, si Marl, saka si Gaivan. Ayun.
Sino?
Marl.
Siguro sa tanong ni Janelle, using action siguro kung paano mo gagawin or maiintindihan niya. Tama po ba, Janelle? Miss Janelle? Using
Bye.
action, ipapakita mo
Hindi.
kung ano,
I mean,
ano ba?
Hindi.
Hindi ko ano yun, Marl.
Para
I
ka
mean-
namang, ano yun?
Hindi, ako.
Through siguro writings.
Right.
tama, yun yung gusto kong makuha na
Through writings or pictures.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
Oo, tama nga.
Oo. May tanong ka ba?
Yun yung hinahanap ko.
Tawa ako sa by action na. Para na
Anong action ba yun?
Malupit,
May kilala kasi akong ganun na encounter ko. Baka iba yung inyo.
malupit yung kay Marl. Ang lupit ng kay Marl eh.
Mamaya iba yung interpretation ko, Mar, tapos iba rin yung interpretation ko.
Okay, tama na muna dyan. Isang oras na tayo. Tapusin na natin to. So, next slide na. Dun tayo. Okay, next slide na, Mar. Sa ano? Letters and words. So, dito sa letters and words, the alphabet principle is the idea that letters and groups of letters represent the sounds of the spoken language. So, yun nga, from letter na sa principle ng alphabet, may mabubuo kang words. Gets po ba? Letters, tapos, pag ginamit mo yung yung principle ng alphabet, makakabuo ka ng words. Tapos, that words, paano ba? Makakagawa ka ng words. Then, yung words na yon, hindi mo lang siya mababasa, hindi mo lang siya nasusulat, kundi nag-i-exist siya. Clear po ba?
Bibigyan ng meaning.
Ana?
Parang bibigyan ng meaning.
Oo, bibigyan siya ng meaning. Na kumbaga, hindi lang sa writing, sa reading mo makikuha yung words na yon, kundi nag-i-exist din siya sa
Comprehension.
Yun nga. Oo. Clear na po ba?
Yes po. Yes po, ma'am.
So, next na sa read aloud experience. So, sa read aloud experience, since tayo yung facilitator, so pag halimbawa sa mga young age tayo na engage, na sa tingin ba natin na mas pag may binigay tayong story, sa tingin ba natin pag may binigay tayong story sa mga bata, mababasa kaya nila yun ng maayos at diretso at malinaw?
I think hindi pa. Kasi yung accountability kasi nila, hindi pa ganun kagaya nating mga mas nakakatanda sa kanila yung yung wide range ng kaisipan.
Oo. So, yun nga, tama yun. Tsaka yun nga, yung mga kabataan, marami pa silang words na hindi pa talaga gaano alam. So, ikaw, as nakakatanda, as bilang teacher, ikaw na marunong at mas nakakaintindi sa story na yun, ikaw yung magbasa, at kung meron man silang hindi naintindihan, ikaw magpapaliwanag mo sa kanila para mas malinaw. Tama po ba?
Yes po, ma'am.
So,
Yes
next
po,
slide
ma'am.
po. So, emergent literacy activities, game, and strategies. Every child reads something he or she chooses, So, dito, yung mga bata, babasahin nila kung ano yung gusto nila. I mean, kung saan sila mas interesado, kung ano yung mas naiintindihan nila. Kasi 'di ba tayo nga hindi tayo nagbabasa kung hindi natin binabasa yung ayaw natin. Doon tayo sa gusto natin. Tama po ba? Kasi wag natin ipilit yung hindi naman talaga natin naiintindihan. Hindi natin nauunawaan at ayaw natin. Kumbaga, wag mo ipilit kung alam mong mahihirapan ka lang. Tama po ba?
Pero
Parang
need pa rin mag-explore.
Oo, yun. Need pa rin mag-explore. Pero yung exploration na yun is step by step. Kasi nga,
Yes.
baka pag binigla natin, may possibility na magkaroon ng fear yung bata. Kasi pag binigla nila, tas iba yung impact sa kanila nung halimbawa nagkamali sila. Yung pag-explore nila is binigla nila tas nagkamali sila. Tas halimbawa magkaroon yun ng malaking impact sa kanila kasi 'di ba yun nga mga kabataan, mga sensitive yan, 'di ba? O paano pag nabigla? So magkakaroon yun ng takot sa kanila na may possibility na matakot na silang gawin o subukan ulit. So step by step pa rin yung exploration. So next, every child reads with accuracy. So when we say accuracy, state of being correct. So nagbabasa sila sa kung alam nilang ano yung tama. I mean, hindi pa kasi nila talaga ma-identify kung tama ba yung binabasa nila. Siguro doon ulit tayo sa mas maiintindihan nila. Parang i-connect natin siya dun sa una na yung pagbabasa ng bata is nakadepende sa pinili nila. Dito naman sa pangalawa, nakadepende sa maiintindihan nila. Gets po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
So, next tayo, every child reads something he or she understanding. So, yun nga, sa understanding ulit, parang wala silang pa kasi yung accuracy, state of being correct, nasa tama. So, pag tama, mas maiintindihan. Tama po ba?
Yes po.
Or halimbawa sa story, pag tama yung ayos o pagkakasunod-sunod ng story, may intindihan ng bata. Kasi halimbawa, ending na una, tapos sumunod yung ending na una, sumunod yung panimula, naging body yung panimula, tapos yung naging wakas is yung gitna. Gets po ba? I mean, nag-rumble yung pagkakaayos ng story. So, may possibility, ay hindi possibility, kundi hindi talaga siya maiintindihan ng isang bata. I mean, ng bata. Gets po ba? So, next. Sige po. Sino po ba yun? Miss
Si
Tejano.
Janil.
Ay, sino ba yun? Janil.
Miss
Go,
Janil.
Nil. Go.
Yun sa every child reads with accuracy. Feeling ko tinutukoy din dito yung consultable ba yung books na yun para sa kanila na para basahin.
Okay. So, yun nga, no? Kasi, nga, tama nga yun, Miss Cervantes. Kasi yun nga, baka yung palang binabasa nung bata is medyo sabihin na natin, hindi na, suit sa, nila, sa age nila na may mga malalaswan ng tapos, syempre, nila yun. Kasi nga, di ba, curious, mga kabataan, curious sila tas magtanong sila. O, di ba, syempre, pag nagtanong, ang hirap naman parang sabihin, yes, dapat na din, guidance din talaga yung kailangan. Guidance. So next, okay na po ba? So next, every child writes about something personally meaningful. So dito, yung mga kabataan, yung mga sinusulat nila, for example, drawing, nagdo-drawing sila sa kung ano lang yung alam nilang nag-exist, nakikita nila, para sa kanila na, ay, okay to, para sa akin, may meaning to. Yung mga ganong scenario, for example, sa mga Barbie, parang mas nakakatch yung attention nila sa isang bagay na yon kasi alam nilang gusto din nila yon, naiintindihan nila, nagkakaroon ng meaning sa kanila. Gets po ba? Or may any idea pa po ba? So next, every child talks with peers about reading and writing. So yun nga, kung tayong mga millennials na tinatawag nila, mga Gen Z, yung mga pinag-uusapan natin about crush, about stress na tayo sa pag-aaral, sila naman parang kung paano lang, di ba kasi pansin nyo sa mga elementary, lalo sa elementary na, ay, tignan mo to, marunong ako magsulat, marunong ako magbasa. Tayo naman, parang mas pa doon tayo parang mas malalim pa yung mga pinag-uusapan natin about sa mga ganyan. So, may nagtaas, Miss Jaya Tejano, additional po.
For that, sorry. So, every child talks with peers about reading and writing. Pero yung understanding ko about that, kasi di ba yung mga young children, they are very friendly with their fellow kalaro or yung kaedad lang nila. So yung peers na tinatawag kasi dito, yung mga tao na nasa paligid nila. Like for example, yung mga friends nila. So for me, it's about sharing your experiences about reading and writing. Kasi di ba mas sila, mga bata confident sila na, ay, nabasa ako, ganito, ganyan. Nai-relay nila yung experience nila based dun sa nabasa nila. Yun lang naman para sa akin, yung idea ko.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Tiana. Tsaka din, siguro yung napag-uusapan din nila, yung hirap na, ay, ba't ganito hindi ko kaya, ba't ikaw nagagawa mo? ba't ikaw nababasa mo to, ba't ako hindi? So, yun lang naman. Sana may natutunan kayo. Next slide ba? Meron pa ba? Next slide po. Di pa pala tapos. Ayun, wala na. Okay na. So, yun lang. Thank you. Sana may natutunan kayo. Next
Thank you, Ms.
presenter, please.
Celeste. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Celeste, for sharing your ideas or information about the strategies on how to develop the emergent literacy skills. And now we're going to talk about the beginning reading skills and teaching resources. So it will explain by Mr. Gaben Banyagas. And you can now start, Mr. Gaben Banyagas.
So, good evening, everyone. So, I will discuss the beginning of reading skills and teaching resources. So, please, next slide. So, in reading skills, there are some factors or pointers that need to evaluate or to be determined in order to cope up the certain goal or the future goal. So, means the ability to read, understand, or of written, imprinted word or symbols express the reading ability and comprehension. So, dito sa ano na to, sa text na to, it only shows it only shows that in reading skills you are not only reading but blended of comprehension process. So, bale, hindi ka lang natututo magbasa kundi natututo ka magbasa at kasabay ng pag-iintindi o pagkakaintindi ng binabasa mo. So next, a fundamental set in helping us of finding and conveying information and necessary skills which develop for every individual which start at the very young age. So because of reading skills, there are process na nagde-develop yung learners or our readers sa different aspect like finding or conveying other person or through interaction. So yun yung process of reading skills. So may other information na may dadagdag kayo. So Ms. Jaya Tejano.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gaban. For me po, reading skills, okay, this is the ability to read and you're not just reading but also you comprehend the text. So that's how reading skills. And as what I mentioned earlier, that being capable to read is one of the most important thing. Kasi kung marunong kang sumulat,
Yes.
marunong ka din dapat magbasa. And also, it mentioned that it is a fundamental set in helping us of finding and conveying information and necessary skills. So for me, it is very important that a person should have or um, should learn how to read. Kasi nga po, this is the basic knowledge na matututunan ng isang tao.
Yes,
Yun lang
yes.
po.
Okay, thank you for your information. So next slide, please. So next, teaching resources. A specialized educator that focuses on helping children with physical or educational learning difficulties to develop their reading and writing skills. So in the teaching resources na ine-expect yung exposure ng teacher as facilitator to facilitate for the learners or student to cope up with reading skills or to manage the or give some effort or time to evaluate the difficulties of every learners in order for give solution on how to solve that difficulties. So you need to provide any tactics or techniques to develop or to avoid difficulties of every learners. Yes, Miss Jaya Tejano, are you raising your hand?
Oh, sorry, sir. Actually, I didn't raise my hand, but okay, I will still answer your question. Ano po bang tanong niyo?
Um, can you give
Kung may
some insights
idea?
about this or idea for this context?
Okay, about teaching resources. For me, based on my
Yes.
understanding or opinion, teaching resources talks about the facilitator on how she or he going to facilitate or to execute a better learning or better knowledge inside the classroom. So I think dito papasok yung pagiging physically, mentally fit ni teacher. And also, it is mentioned here that they must be organized, patient, and good at motivating students. Of course, you are a teacher,
So,
and you
sorry, I'm
should
not
value.
yet done by that context.
Ay, okay, sorry, sir,
For the
sorry,
first
sir.
paragraph only.
Okay, sorry, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sige, sige.
Sir, I'm done.
Thank you for your information. So next paragraph, they must be organized, patient, good, and at motivating students, extremely understanding of people's individual needs and able to accept people differences. So in these matters, facilitator will set an organized function or structure wherein can really help for those learners who are facing difficulties in terms of um, reading skills. So as a facilitator, you need to have a long patience because learning is not only just easy way to capture, wherein you need to really spend time in order to categorize or fill in the problem for a functional and really accurate process. So as a facilitator, you need to motivate your students for reading skills because it's really important for students if you encourage them to take the responsibility to improve their skills in or capabilities in terms of reading skills. Um, Also, you need to accept differences of every characteristic of every student. Wherein may tinatawag tayo na low learners or slow learners and active learners or faster learners. So yon, you need to evaluate for that process. So yun yung teaching resources. Yes, let's say, are you raising your hand? Miss Lindsay, are you here?
Ay, sorry sir, nakamute po pala. So, as I said, we are talking about teaching resources. So, I think this is all about the materials used by the teachers para ituturuan yung mga estudyante niya and para mas kasi yung mga materials na ginagamit ng teacher, ginagamit yun para mas madaling maintindihan ng isang bata yung aralin. I
Uh,
think materials yung resources po.
oh. So thank you for your information. So next, please. So now we will move on to strategies and beginning reading skills and teacher resources. So first is phonemic awareness. It is a subset in which listeners are able to hear, identify, and manipulate phonemes rather. So dito in process of phonemic awareness, listener are able to cope up to hear or ang learners is kayang makadinig ng mga words wherein base sa pagkadinig ng mga words ng mga learners ma-identify niya kung anong words or meaning yung narinig niya. So bale, base dito, kaya niyang i-pronounce or i-manipulate ang sounds ng words na yun. So, the smallest mental unit of sound that help to differentiate units of meaning. So, in this process, learners are already taking the process of hearing. By then, she will going to identify the words or to pronounce the word. Then she will identify its meaning or definition of the word. So yun yung phonemic awareness. Being aware for the word he have read or he have been right. Yes, Miss Jaya Tejano, are you raising your hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have additional information about phonemic awareness. And I will relate this, sir, in our
Sige, sige.
in our field as a teacher educator. For me, sir, as a teacher educator, we should be aware of those words that we're going to disseminate, or that we're going to tell or say in our learners. Of course,
Yes.
it is very important for them to differentiate na po, and also to distinguish, kasi there are um there is some possible na maaaring iba yung pagkakarinig ng learner
Oh.
sa sinasabi mo. So we must be aware and consider that. Yun lang, sir.
Thank you, Jaya Tejano, for your ideas. So next, phonic instructions. So phonic instruction is the ability to read a text accurately and quickly. So yung phonic instruction is my connection about phonemic awareness, wherein a reader can really read accurate or for instant process, or should I say mabilis yung proseso ng pagbasa ng learners. When fluent readers read silently, they recognize words automatically. Syempre, there are some perspective process wherein readers are differentiated with matters, including, for example, nagbabasa yung reader in a silent way. Pero sa silent way na yon, nagsasite pala ng process na kahit di siya nagsasalita or di siya gagamit ng voice sa pagbabasa, nalalaman niya pala or nalalaman niya paano i-pronounce or ano yung meaning ng word na binasa niya. But there are some aspect naman na in voice or gumagamit ng voice sa pagbasa or pag-cite ng meaning ng word. So, and they group words quickly to help them gain meaning from what they read. So yun nga, so, di lang sila nagbabasa, kundi may process din sila ng comprehension or gaining knowledge or meaning sa binasa nilang word. Yun yung phonemic instructions. So next, please. So, fluency instructions. So, the ability to read a text accurately in quickly. When fluent readers read silently, they recognize words automatically and they group words quickly to help them gain meaning from what they read. So sa fluency instruction, there are certain process wherein continuous or active. A reader can really compose every words to provide a concrete and meaningful statement of what they read. So, base dito sa fluency, being fluent of a reader to read and to comprehend by the words or a sentence she or he read from a text. So, yun yung fluency instruction. So, next, vocabulary instruction. By the way, before I'm gonna discuss the vocabulary instruction. Can you differentiate, or who can differentiate the vocabulary into comprehension? Meron bang idea dyan? About sa difference of vocabulary and comprehension?
Vocabulary. For me, sir, yung vocabulary is yung storage knowledge mo, or yung mga words na familiar ka, or you have this prior knowledge sa mga words na na-encountered mo na before, and you add this as your prior knowledge, or your vocabulary on how you speak, or how you deliver a certain word. Then comprehension po ba yun, sir?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Okay. Comprehension, sir, di ba po, this is the ability to understand.
Yes.
Comprehend. Yes, sir. Yun
Yes.
po. Comprehension. The ability to understand.
For
Yun lang,
other,
sir.
thank you for your information. Based sa research about Google, vocabulary is it is acquisition is the process of learning new words, and then comprehension is the process of what you have read, of what you have learned in the process you have read. So baliktad yung pagkakaintindi, Miss. I am correct, Miss Jaya?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Kasi vocabulary daw is gaining new words or learnings, while comprehension
Okay.
of learning, gaining learning from what you have read or cited.
Okay, sir. As what I understand, sir, about the comprehension, kasi, sir, may prior knowledge about comprehension is that
Yes.
you have the ability to understand based on what you read or what you write. And
Yes.
as what I said about the vocabulary, you have the prior knowledge, or yes, you have the prior knowledge on those words na na-store dito sa sa utak mo. Ganun, sir. Yun lang po ang idea ko doon.
Thank you for your information. So, vocabulary instruction is a process of fostering word consciousness and awareness of and interest in words. So, sa vocabulary instruction, are tend of our learners to be conscious of in different words na bago lang sa paningin, or bago lang nila nabasa. In that way, they were tend to locate or explore for that word in order to understand and really comprehend what might be the meaning of that word. So, bale, nakakatulong yung consciousness because you are tending to conceptualizing on your minds what might be the really or exact meaning of that word, because you have met that word first time, or bago lang sa paningin mo. Yun nga. So word consciousness is not an isolated components of vocabulary instructions. One principle of effective vocabulary learning is to provide multiple exposure to a word's meaning. So bali dito sa vocabulary instruction is not only focusing on what really one meaning of that word. So you need to explore and find multiple solution or even exposure for that word in order to gain more knowledge or ideas for that word. So yun yung vocabulary instruction. So okay ba? Gets nyo ba?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sige, thank you. Thank you for your stand.
Yes, sir.
So please, next slide. Ayan, comprehensive instruction. Instruction that helps students to become independent, strategic, and metacognitive readers who are able to develop, control, and use a variety of comprehension strategies to ensure that they understand what they read. So dito sa comprehension instruction is a process of comprehension with certain text or words. So bali dito, ini-intake mo yung process in strategic ways in order for you to cope up the learnings or to really understand for the word you have read. So need din maging we need to really be independently because independent because sa base sa mga elementary level di pa exact na totally develop yung learning nila. So bali need pa nila mag facilitate ng facilitator or teacher. Yes, Miss Janelle, are you raising your hand?
Yes, sir. I have a question lang po.
Yes, yes. What is this?
So you mean comprehensive instruction, you mean it is an independent understanding?
Yes, kasi 'di ba pag sinabing independent, nakadepend for example, ay mali pala ng pagkakaintindi ko. Independent pala is you need learners can really explore in their own way. So bale, sila yung mag-explore kung paano nila ma-explore yung word or ma-find yung meaning or ma-comprehend yung word na yon base sa strategy nila in their own way. Parang ganun. Okay ba, Miss Janelle?
Okay, I understand, sir.
Nagkabaliktad lang ang yung pagkakaintindi ko. I'm sorry for that.
Okay lang
So,
po, sir.
sige, thank you. So,
Okay lang, sir.
Yes, sige, thank you. Comprehension strategies to ensure that they understand what they read. So, yun nga, hindi lang tayo nagbabasa kundi as a learner, you need to evaluate kung may natutunan ka ba sa binasa mo. Hindi mo lang siya binasa dahil gusto mo or um, pinapabasa ng teacher mo because binasa mo dahil gusto mong malaman or ma-explore kung ano ba talaga ang meaning ng context na yon o word na binasa mo. Yun yung comprehensive instruction. So next is the phonic and decoding. So in this area, children's reading development is dependent on their understanding of the alphabetic principle, the idea that letters and the letter pattern represent the sound of the spoken language. So dito naman, sa phonic and decoding, syempre, in elementary level, we already know what is the alphabetic principle, which is alphabet letters. So by those learnings, we can able to create words via those patterns or writings using alphabetic words. Wherein after we creating the words, we can really expose or give definition or meaning for that words. So really in phonics and decoding really nakaka-create tayo ng mga words wherein we are taking with it process of sounding words. So bale na-expose dito yung kung paano natin binabasa using a proper sound or pronunciation of the words we have created. So yun yung phonic and decoding. Yes, Ms. Jaya Tihano, are you raising your hand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I would like to share my idea about phonic and decoding, sir. Yun nga po, since children are very dependent na po, so they're relying on the basic knowledge na alam nila, which is yung alphabet letters. So, in phonics, kasi my idea about phonics is sounds. So,
Yes, ma'am.
it is how we pronounce a specific letters. Just like, for example, A is for apple, B is for boy, and C is for cat. So from that, they're able to understand, A is apple. So they associate a certain object into the letters. So that is my idea, sir, about
Yes,
phonic
yes,
and
thank you
code.
for your idea. Thank you. So next, please. So next is spelling. Learning to spell is built on a child understanding that words are made up of separate speech sounds, phonemes, and that letters represent those sounds. So sa spelling really important kasi doon magre-reflect yung mga words kung paano mo siya i-pronounce. So need to evaluate or to develop your spelling skills. Kasi doon nakabase kung kunyari, for example, um, yung pag-spell mo ng cat, which is pusa, pero yung pagbasa mo, which is cat, is pusa, but then the spelling is C-U-T. So, it might be a big conflict. So you need to evaluate and really secure if the word is really pronounced well and been defined the exact meaning of that word. Yes, Miss Jaya. Miss Jaya, are you raising your hand?
I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. What is your question, sir?
Can you give some insight about spelling in reading
Okay, sir.
skills?
Okay, sir. So for me, sir, my understanding about spelling is that um since I will give some, or I will cite some examples here. Since we are the facilitator, of course, we have to be aware of those words, or yes, of those words or letters, or not letters, basta words that we're going to disseminate, or we're going to teach in our learners. Of course, yun nga po, there is a high tendency that the learner will interpret based on what you spell,
Yes.
or based on how you spell a certain word. Just like, for example, sir, when you pronounce the word fork, fork, which is intinidor,
Yes.
and based on the learner, based on what the learners hear, they heard fork.
Yes.
So we must spelling and also the phonemic, parang they're the same, sir. So those
Yes.
two should always consider, especially when we're engaging with the young children. Kasi po dapat yung mga tinuturo natin sa kanila is very accurate, so that from the very
Yes.
young age, 'di ba? Mas natututunan nila kung ano yung mga
Oh,
tama. That's
yes.
all.
So thank you. Next is writing. So writing development parallels their development as a reader. Writing is a complex task that balances purpose, audience, ideas, and organization with the mechanics of writing, sentence structure, word choice, and spelling. So writing may connection sa spelling because if you are writing, you need to write the exact spelling of the different words. So sa writing, for example, um, um, the facilitator give an activity on how to write speech about for example for education. So with that um, learners can be able to balance the purpose wherein they are going to consider of the audience purposes or essence and ideas in organization with mechanics of writing. So so bali yung organization ng writing nila is really composed in a full structured or clear structured para mas detailed and really accurate yung writing sila. So yun yung writing. Cleared ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Kasi thank you. So next, please. So yon, informal assessment. Regular informal assessment throughout the school year provides useful information that can help teacher to identify individual strengths and weaknesses of each students. So bali sa informal assessment, may ano tayo tinatawag na occur after school program. So out of the school na. So bali learners are continuous process in the different environments and or not in school only. So bali natututo yung students sa labas ng eskwelahan, sa bahay, or kung saan pang pwedeng maging environment learning sa mga learners. Wherein ano sila, benefits for learning process to improve their capacity and capability in terms of comprehension, reading, and etc. So yung informal assessment out of the school program.
Sir, I have a idea, sir.
Yes, yes.
For me, sir, yung informal assessment, sir, it also happens inside the school, also inside the
Yes.
classroom.
Yes,
So,
yes.
the teacher are the responsible, the teachers are the responsible for this. So, by informal assessment, they can easily evaluate or assess those students that that needs or yun nga po na kailangan kung ano ba yung mga natutunan nila dun sa
Yes.
subject. And from that assessment or informal assessment, the teacher will identify those students na mababa sa isang particular or sa isang specific
Yes, yes.
subject. So from that, the teacher will also create some strategies that
Yes.
will help the learners to what they call this to maximize or to enhance their capabilities towards the subject. So that is
Yes,
my
sir.
idea about the informal assessment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. J. Tejano. So, yun nga, informal assessment pwede din sa classroom in terms of identifying of every facilitator of strength and weaknesses of every learners to be improve or more improving or develop yun, yung informal assessment. So, next, please. So, build better reading skills. Annotate and highlight text. Miss Janelle, you have an idea with this concept or text?
Yes, sir. Um, especially kapag 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 sa nagbabasa tayo ng libro, we tend to highlight the important words kasi not all in the books kasi kailangan mong kabisaduhin. Meron lang keywords na kailangan mong i-highlight para doon iikot yung buong topic na pinag-aaralan mo, which is may keywords ka na.
Yes, thank you, Miss Janelle. So yun nga sa annotate and highlight text, you are highlighting a text or a word which is serve as a key or a point out for you to able to easy to identify that context or paragraph or even a definition. So bali yes, Miss Jaya Tejano.
Yes, sir. I would like to share, sir, my idea about annotate and highlight text.
Yes.
For me, sir, my idea about annotating and highlighting the text is that you just you just pinpoint the most important details on the information,
Yes.
the brief information, because not all the information are all necessary po.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so if you are if you are a learner na very wise, you don't need to you don't need to copy, or you don't need
Or
to
memorize. Oh,
yes, you don't need to memorize the whole context. What you're
yes.
going to do is to highlight the most important details. Then in annotate, it is very important because just like I would like to answer na lang, bigyan na lang ako sir ng example po.
Sige po. Sige po.
So just like for example about literacy skills. So in literacy skills, we all know that the definition of it is the literacy. When we say literacy, the main definition of it is being able to read and write. And what we're going to
Yes.
annotate is to expound your own idea about literacy. So literacy skills is one of the most important thing in learning something like that. So that's how you do the annotating. Kasi sir, I think mas malaki yung mas malaki yung tendency na matututo ang isang learner if they do this
Yes.
annotation. Kasi
Yes.
they're giving their own insight
Yes.
based on what they read. So, yun lang sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Jaya Tijano. So next, personalize the content. So student can increase their understanding by seeing how the material connects with their life. Have your student make personal connection with the text by writing it down on the page. So in this process, student really for example, if teacher really discuss or give a story for the learners, then the learners will really give insight or reflection about the story or the lesson who have discussed by the teacher. So bali, nagka-create ng personal content yung mga learners. So bali, para which is having a connection with the um, lesson na diniscuss ng teacher or story na pinabasa ng teacher. So bali may process ng understanding to increase their understanding by seeing how material connects. So bali may connection talaga yung na-expose yung process. So yun yung personalize the content. So yun. Based then, pwede din sila kunyari uh, if that
Halimbawa sir,
facilitator pwede mag mag mag-ask ng personal experience nila na may connection doon sa diniscuss ng teacher, they can really give personal experience na dinanas nila. Yun yung personalize the content rather. Clear ba?
yes
Clear,
sir.
sir.
Yes, thank you for your response. So next please. Next is practice problem solving skills. Blend real world problem solving skills into your curriculum. Have your student write a solution the problem and discuss the ideas as a class or in a small group. So dito sa practice problem solving skills, if group work ito, supposedly mag-occur yung collaboration process wherein each member could really give their insights or ideas about the said lesson or kung ano yung dapat nasasagutan doon sa pinagawa ng facilitator. So bali learners are tend to find any applicable solution which is more complex or multiple para hindi lang sila mag-focus sa one solution. Kasi nga, di ba sabi ni Dr. Guevara, dapat if may mga technical problems or even some problems sa sa lessons mo or presentation mo, you need to set two passageway or ways, which is set A and set B. Kung hindi gagana yung set A, you have the chance to choose ay to use the set B. So yun yung process ng practice problem solving skills. So ano ba, clear ba?
Yes, sir. Clear po.
Thank you. So next is incorporate more senses. Add in activities that reinforce learning and comprehension by using more senses as they read. So dito, sa pag process ng reading skills, na-intake din yung na-improve or na you use din yung mga senses mo sa pagbasa. We're in sense of insight then sense of insight, eyesight, then sense of hearing, then also important is sense of thinking, which is you are using your mind to comprehend one word or one context to really understand kung ano ba talaga yung word na yun or ano yung text na sinasabi. Yun yung incorporate more senses na tinatawag. So there's any other information or ideas?
None, sir.
Sige. So clear naman. So we next please. So understand common themes. Ask your student to look for example of a certain theme throughout the chapter to increase engagement. So dito, for example, if a facilitator for example, papagawa siya ng poem, which is nagbigay siya ng theme, then yung learners is engaged to develop on how they are going to have a concept or intact ideas kung paano nila makakagawa ng isang poem which is composed of three elements wherein have introduction, body, and conclusion. So bali ang facilitator is tinetest kung nakaka-relate ba yung learners sa themes na provide ng facilitator. So doon, na-engage ng learner, ay na-engage ng teacher ang capabilities ng na-engage ng teacher or facilitator ang capabilities ng learner kung paano sila magkaroon ng connection doon sa team na binigay ng facilitator. So yun na yung understand common themes. So clear ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for your response. So next is set reading goals. So have each student set their own reading goals. This can help them to take action in building reading skills, and students will be more mindful or how they are improving. So dito, for example, yung learners is alam niya na yung simplest, mga simple words, then nag-set siya ng goals na kailangan niya improve niya ang kung ano yung natutunan niya sa simple words. So bali magse-set siya ng middle words wherein nag-upgrade na yung mga learnings kung saan yung mga words is more medyo mahirap-hirap na. Then after niya matutunan yung middle words, magse-set na naman siya ng goals sa hard words wherein classify na hindi lang siya napo-focus kung anong natutunan niya or na ano yung na-understand niya sa word na yun. So, bali, nagsiset siya ng improvement wherein taking the process para mas ma-develop pa kung anong reading comprehension or reading skills sa through setting the reading goals. So yun yung set reading goals. So kuha ba? Or may idea ba kayo about this?
Nakukuha po, sir. Very clear.
Sige, thank you.
Okay na po, sir.
So next please.
Okay na po.
Thank you. So read in portion. Long, complex reading can be more digestible by breaking it up into pieces. Shorter segments will help students retain the information as the class discusses the material. So bali dito, parang din siya, nag-highlight process din siya wherein nagko-consider siya ng mga pointers para mas mapadali ang pag-process or pag-digest ng mga knowledge or understanding about dun sa context or word. Yes, Miss Janelle, are you raising your hand?
Yes, sir. I have some insights lang po.
Sige, go lang.
Natatandaan ko kasi nung elementary kami, kapag may storytelling na binabasa yung teacher sa harapan, putol-putol yung pagkukwento niya. For example, sa first paragraph, yun muna yung una niyang babasahin. Pagtapos nun,
Yes.
magtatanong siya. For example, tatanungin niya kung saan for example, saan nagmula yung ganito na binanggit niya dun sa story. Para yung information na nagagathered nila is hindi biglaan, kundi parang by step na na-analyze nila yung story. Kaya merong break it up into pieces po.
Thank you for your information, Janelle. So, yun nga, read in portion. Sabi nga ni Janelle, step-by-step process para ma-attain yung goal or learning na kinakailangan. So, yun, yung read in portions. So, next is let student guide their reading. Your student process reading materials and curriculum in every different ways. As you implement reading activities to help your class learn complex material, you will learn what works best for each student individually. So dito, yung facilitator is not only focusing for kung sino lang yung for example, kung sino lang yung slow learner, doon siya ma-focus. So hindi lang siya dapat mag-focus doon because learners are kailangan din ng mga learners na kahit improve na siya, mas kailangan niya pa mas madagdagan yung knowledge para mas mag-improve. So in a good ways. So bale dito curriculum every different way. So yun nga, may gumagamit ng different techniques yung teacher para mas ma-determine or ma-evaluate kung paano pa mas mapadevelop yung every each student. We're not focusing for one student but for all. Parang ganun. Yes, Mary Janelle, are you raising your hand?
Yes, sir. Meron pa po yung regarding sa let student guide their reading. Naalala ko nung elementary, grade 2 ata yun. Yung isa sa technique ng mga teacher, for example, isa-isahin kayong tatawagin niya para magbasa. Then, papakinggan ka lang niya. Then, tatanungin ka niya kung naintindihan mo ba. Tapos, pwede kang magtanong sa kanya kung may word ka ba na hindi naintindihan, i-guide ka nila hanggang sa ma-comprehend or ma-understand mo yung binabasa mo hanggang sa matapos.
Yes, thank you for your information, Janelle. So yun nga, let student guide their reading. So as facilitator or a teacher, you need to really guide and evaluate every student, not only focusing for one student, but for all or generalize of every student. So bali doon, ma-identify mo kung kung sino pa ang mas dapat mag-improve or sino pa yung kakailangan ng process na wherein tend to have a literal focus para mas mapa-improve yung capabilities siya in terms of reading and comprehension. So yun yung let student guide reading. So next please. So importance of teaching strategies in terms of enhancing literacy, yun nga, from the first place, literacy is ability to read and write. Yun, yung first stage ng being a literate or having a skills in literacy. So, development of teaching resources. So, yun nga, use of materials of every teacher para mas improve pa ang capabilities or skills ng every learners, not only focusing for just only student na low learners, wherein you need to consider it, like you need to consider or generalize all student para mas fair or may fair treatment na nangyayari. So next is emergent literacy skills. Ms. Jaya, you have idea for this text? Yes, Mary Janelle.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Mister?
Right after ka na lang, Miss Mary Janelle.
Okay. So, I would like to answer, sir, the emergent literacy skills, the importance of these teaching strategies. For me, sir, the importance of emergent literacy skills is that at the very young age, we should teach the learners on how to become a better learner. What I mean is that we should help them to learn the basic knowledge of learning, wherein it is the ability to read and write. So it should always start inside the house. So we as a future educator and also as a future parent, we should now aware on on those things or strategies that we're going to apply in our future so that um, we can execute this kind of strategies. And also, sir, I would like to give some importance about enhancing literacy skills.
Yes, yes.
For me, sir, it is very important. It is very, very important. 100% important. Especially today, we all know that one of the most common problem in our country is the poverty. And education is very important thing that we can do as a human. And without education, sir, or without education, without knowledge, without prior knowledge, without learning, it is very impossible for you to have a better life, to have a better future. So, um, since we are future educator, it is very important that we should help those unprivileged people that needs is that needs help or that needs a special treatment. So enhancing these literacy skills, it will also improve us, um, not just our capabilities as a teacher educator, but also it also improves the capabilities of every learners that we're going to teach. So this enhancing literacy skills is very important in terms of communication, right? If you're able to read and write, you can communicate easily. And also, as what we know that English is one of the most important language that we can learn. Imagine if you're going to the other country, if you're being capable to speak English, it's very easy for you to communicate with them because you have the guts or you have the confidence to speak English. So for me, this enhancing literacy skills always start at the house or at the home and 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 from that they can enhance it. So hindi pa sila napapasok sa school, they have the prior knowledge na. So yun lang po, sir.
Yes, thank you for your information. So next, Miss Janil.
I have nothing to say na, sir. Nasabi na lahat halos ni Miss Tejano.
Say thank you. So all in all, importance of teaching strategies is really important in terms of development, improvement, and good satisfaction. Wherein you are tend to have a good passion to really um, set or attain the future goal. So bilang educator, we consider as contributor in a process of sharing of knowledge, ideas to other person or individuals. So bale yung kung anong natutunan natin, kailangan natin ipamahagi. We're in a good ways naman para mas makatulong sa mga unprivileged nga, sabi nga ni Miss Zaya, sa mga unprivileged person na para magkaroon din sila ng kalaman kahit sa konting lang, tulong, parang gano'n. So, yon.
So,
yes. Yes, Kim.
And so, may question po ako, sir.
Yes, ano po yun?
So, yung question ko po is, when a person cannot read or write, it doesn't mean po ba na illiterate po ba siya?
Para sa akin, hindi naman. Kasi there are differences of every individuals. Kasi kanya-kanya tayong katangian na mayroon. Hindi nga lang sa the same way, but in different ways. So bale, if hindi siya marunong magbasa or sulat, pero magaling siya sa different sa ibang larangan, wherein for example kumanta, parang ganun, sumayaw. So di siya ma-consider na illiterate. So bali ma-consider pa rin siya na literate, parang ganun.
sir,
Sige po,
Yes.
thank you po.
sa tingin ko, sir, din po sa sinabi niyo na kumanta, paano
Yes.
po siya magiging magaling kumanta kung hindi po siya marunong bumasa ng mga kanta o mga tula? Para po sa akin, sir. Sige po, sir.
Kasi dito sa amin 'di ba nagro-rosaryo kami minsan, 'di ba may nagli-lead. Tas may kilala kami na di siya marunong magbasa pero memorize niya yung mga words sa rosaryo na sinasambit, parang ganun. Parang hindi siya marunong hindi siya marunong magbasa pero na in other ways kaya niyang mag-memorize ng mga words, parang ganun.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir? For me, sir, possible po talaga siya. Possible siya kasi meron akong napanood, sir, na ang buhay ng isang prinsesa, sir.
Yes.
Wherein, even if they're not capable on how to read and write, they can adapt on how to sing.
Yes,
Meron
yes.
silang na-adapt by sir, by senses of hearing. So na-adapt
yes.
nila yung So possible nga naman siya.
Yes.
So para po sa akin, sir, being yung sinabi po ng isa nating team member na we can being not able to read and write will not be the basis on how you treat a person. So kung hindi man siya marunong magsulat or magbasa, hindi siya magiging basihan para hindi mo siya itrato ng tama. If you are a literate person, then and if you are a literate person, then you know how to cope up with those kind of people.
Yes.
Papakita mo dito na capable ka marunong ka kasi magsulat and magbasa. So, pag naka-encounter ka ng mga tao na hindi marunong magsulat at magbasa, alam mo na yung gagawin mo.
Yes.
Yun lang.
Okay na po ba, Miss Kim?
Okay na po. Thank you po sa input, sir.
Thank you po. Wala na bang tanong? Tingin ko wala na. So, next please.
Okay, sir. Here's the reference. All the references na naging basis or naging source of our topic. So, that is all the reference. And we were hoping that all of us gain knowledge today and also na-enlighten ang bawat isa. So, do you have any questions pa ba dun sa ating mga team members? Meron pa ba na
None so far.
Yes? Wala na po? Okay.
None so far po.
So with that, thank you for participation or participating in our class. And sana may natutunan kayo. Marl,
Yes.
okay na Marl?
Marami.
Thank you. Thank you sa inyo lahat. At least, Marl, okay na? Si Marl, okay na?
Baka nakatulog na si Marn.
Marl!
Ano nga?
Marl!
Okay ka na, Marl?
Ongoing pa yung recording.
Gising.
Bakit?
Ano man na-stop
mo na ba?
Paano ba to i-stop?
Ay.
Doon sa
Limit.
'di ba yung pagpindot mo rin ng button, pindutin mo rin dito sa may taas so may stop.
Stop recording na. Stop recording ko na.
Oo. Stop recording.
Kasi ba yung automatic?
Oo, Ate Jen,